Do you think you know Brazil? Are you sure everything you've heard about the country is true? Many people have a limited or even mistaken view of Brazil, based on stereotypes and ideas that don't always reflect reality. Today, let's explore 5 fascinating curiosities and surprising facts that show a Brazil far more diverse and complex than many imagine. Get ready for a journey through unique facts that will challenge what you think you know about the country. One of the most common confusions about Brazil is the question of its capital. Many foreigners, and even some Brazilians, believe that the capital is Rio de Janeiro, or even Sao Paulo. After all, these are the two most internationally famous Brazilian cities. However, the truth is that Brasilia is Brazil's capital, a specially planned city inaugurated in 1960 with the goal of decentralizing power and promoting development in the country's interior. The history of Brazil's capitals is interesting and helps explain the reason for this change. Salvador, located in the northeast, was Brazil's first capital, chosen by the Portuguese crown in 1549 because of its strategic location along the coast, which made maritime trade with Europe easier. Salvador remained the capital until 1763, when the status was transferred to Rio de Janeiro. At the time, Rio was experiencing economic growth, especially due to its proximity to regions producing gold and coffee, which were driving Brazil's economy. In 1960, however, then-President Juscelino Kubitschek decided to build a new capital in the interior of the country, inaugurating Brasilia in a previously undeveloped region. This choice was strategic. The aim was to better integrate Brazilian territory by bringing infrastructure and investment to an inland area. Brasilia was designed by urban planner Lucio Costa and features futuristic architecture by the famous architect Oscar Niemeyer. With a plan shaped like an airplane, the city is divided into specific sectors for residential, commercial, and government functions, and is home to key government buildings such as the National Congress, the Supreme Court, and the Presidential Palace, Palácio do Planalto. Brasilia is not just Brazil's capital. It's a landmark of modernism in architecture and urban planning and represents the country's desire for modernization and expansion into the interior. This fact alone is a fascinating curiosity that many foreigners don't know and that helps to better understand Brazil's diversity. Another common stereotype is that Brazil is a tropical country that's hot all year round, as if it's in a state of eternal summer. It's true that Brazil has tropical climates in several regions, but this isn't the only climate present in the country. With an area of over 3.2 million square miles, 8.5 million square kilometers, Brazil has different climates depending on the region, ranging from tropical to equatorial, subtropical, and semi-arid. In northern Brazil, for example, the climate is indeed hot and humid year-round, especially in the Amazon, where the average temperature is high and there's frequent rainfall. In the northeast, however, the inland area is marked by a semi-arid climate, which is very dry and experiences long droughts. This arid climate creates landscapes typical of the Caatinga, a unique Brazilian biome with drought-resistant plants. However, in southern Brazil, the scenario changes. States like Rio Grande do Sul, Santa Catarina, and Paraná have a subtropical climate, with hot summers and harsh winters. In some cities, like São Joaquim and Santa Catarina, frosts and even snow are common during the winter months, which surprises many foreigners who associate Brazil only with heat and sun. Additionally, other higher altitude regions, such as the Serra de Mantiqueira mountain range, which spans the states of Minas Gerais, Rio de Janeiro, and São Paulo, also experience cooler winter temperatures, with lows that sometimes reach freezing. This climatic diversity is fascinating and highlights how Brazil is a country with complex and varied geography. The idea that Brazil is just sun and heat is in fact a major myth. For many Brazilians, coffee is a sacred ritual and an essential part of the day. Unlike in the United States, where coffee is often served in large mugs and is relatively weak, Brazilian coffee is known for being very strong and is usually consumed in small cups, called cafezinho, meaning a little coffee. This habit is intriguing to many foreigners who aren't used to drinking coffee in small, concentrated servings. The cafezinho is a Brazilian tradition that's part of daily life and social interactions. Whether at home, work, or during meetings, it's common to offer a cafezinho as a gesture of hospitality. Brazilian coffee is mainly cultivated in the states of Minas Gerais, São Paulo, Espírito Santo, and Bahia, and Brazil is the world's largest coffee producer. The drink, which has been part of Brazil's history and economy for centuries, is usually made with high-quality beans, resulting in a rich flavor and intense aroma. For Brazilians, drinking coffee throughout the day is common. Often, coffee is enjoyed without rush, taking time for a short break or a conversation. This cultural difference draws attention from foreigners who typically consume coffee quickly and in larger quantities. For Brazilians, coffee is much more than just a beverage. It's a symbol of hospitality and an invitation to connect. A common misconception among foreigners is that Portuguese spoken in Brazil is practically the same as Portuguese in Portugal. While both share the same linguistic roots, the differences are significant and can be compared in some ways to the differences between American and British English. Variations include pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and even regional expressions. For example, in Portugal, it's common to use the term autocarro for a bus, while in Brazil, they simply use ônibus. The pronunciation is also quite different. European Portuguese tends to be more closed, with sounds that are distinct to Brazilians. Additionally, Brazil has developed its own slang and expressions, which vary by region within the country. Linguistic diversity in Brazil is so vast that a person from the South speaks with a very different accent than someone from the Northeast or the North. Words and expressions often take on specific meanings in different regions of the country. In the Northeast, ox is an expression of surprise, while in the South, ba serves this purpose. These differences make Brazilian Portuguese a rich and diverse language, reflecting the country's cultural diversity. To illustrate the language differences between Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese, here's an example of an introduction in each dialect, showing how vocabulary and style differ between the two countries. First, here's a typical introduction in Brazilian Portuguese.
Oi, gente. Eu sou o João, sou daqui de São Paulo, Brasil, e trabalho como designer gráfico. Adoro viajar e conhecer novas culturas.
Now, here's the same introduction in European Portuguese.
Olá, malta. Chamo-me João, sou de Lisboa, Portugal e trabalho como designer gráfico. Gosto imenso de viajar e descobrir novas culturas.
This example demonstrates some typical differences. In Brazil, the greeting oi, gente is common and informal, while in Portugal, olá, malta is often used to refer to a group of people. Another point is how names are presented. In Brazil, it's common to say eu sou o João, while in Portugal, chamo-me João is more commonly used. Terms like gosto imenso are also frequent in Portugal, while in Brazil, the equivalent expression would be adoro. These differences show how Portuguese evolved in distinct ways in each country, resulting in two rich variations that share the base of the language, but are shaped by the unique cultures and regionalisms of Brazil and Portugal. Brazil is known for its hospitality and warm way of welcoming people, whether they're acquaintances or strangers. While in the United States, physical contact with strangers is more reserved. In Brazil, interactions are typically much closer and more affectionate, especially in social settings. A hug, or even a kiss on the cheek, is a common way to greet someone, which might seem unusual to those who aren't accustomed to this level of closeness. This behavior reflects a culture that values closeness and affection. In Brazil, Being friendly and welcoming is a highly valued characteristic and one that's expressed daily, whether with acquaintances or strangers. In more traditional communities, it's common to offer a coffee or meal to a visitor, even if it's their first time at someone's home. This behavior highlights a marked difference between Brazilian culture and that of other countries, where physical contact and emotional closeness are more reserved. This closeness goes beyond physical contact. Brazilians tend to be communicative and open to conversations with people they've just met. A quick encounter can easily turn into a long conversation, whether in line at a store or on public transportation. For many foreigners, this warm social interaction is surprising and a unique characteristic of Brazilian culture. These 5 curiosities show just how Brazil is a country full of contrasts and unique qualities that extend far beyond common stereotypes. From the capital city, Brasilia, to the warm and welcoming way people interact, these aspects reveal a truly diverse and fascinating Brazil. We hope these insights have helped debunk some misconceptions and given you a fresh look into the richness of Brazilian culture. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Subscribing ensures you don't miss out on future videos exploring the hidden sides of Brazil, from more cultural curiosities to surprising regional traditions. And if there are any other topics about Brazil that you'd like us to dive into, let us know in the comments below. Your thoughts and questions are incredibly valuable in helping us create the best content possible. We're leaving a video here in the card with more about Brazil's rich and surprising culture. Go ahead and click to check it out. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.